Just, I got in here this morning, like I said, I wanted to play around a little more with it, but it was a busy day for me. I had to get a lot of things done. So anyways, got a chance to get in here again. So it's about 4 o'clock, and maybe I'll try it again in the evening. So I've been, at least I know it tunes up here on 40, and it also tunes on 80, although I haven't made any contacts on 75 there, but we'll try it a little later on. So with that, maybe I can get a signal report from Craig. I'm not sure who else broke in here, Craig, but maybe you might want to pick up whoever the breaker was. I didn't write down any calls. KB3RHR to take it with a KD2BRM WD2AFJ.
Yeah, just dragging my feet there, see if there was anybody there. Okay, Ray, man, you're good to hear you again. My goodness, it's been a while. And, yeah, you're 20 over here, so I wish I could remember what the signals were before. I don't do that, write that down, but you're definitely plenty loud here, so you're doing well. Hope things are going good over there. Glad you got your project done. And that's what I was telling her, I got to get that loop extended if Brian ever gets down here. That's just like craziness, all summer I've been running, and I've been talking about doing this loop extension for 3 years, I think. Just never did it. But, so I need to I need a hand with it, so he's going to have to come down and give me a hand. But, yeah, you sound good. And, like I said, 20 over, so. Yeah, antennas are, that's the foundation, I think. Doesn't matter what all you have, it's got its place. You're right. I mean, it's got its place, but I belong to a 6-meter Region 2 chat group online, and it's pretty nice. ON4KST. It's got a map and a spot, a cluster. And it's an interactive board, and there's a chat room there too, like right with all this program. And man, I mean, I made friends with all the guys on the East Coast. Of course, I was the young guy, and I came out of nowhere, and I built up a station real quick, and I was working stuff some of the old-timers weren't getting, so I had friends and I had foes. So, but all in all, after they seen I was really serious about it and really was doing a good job, then they kind of adopted me in, per se. But man, it was almost a fist fight on that chat page. I mean, there was definitely a clear line between the guys that believe in that and the guys that don't. And it's funny how turncoat, man, some of the guys went, because, they may not have been the greatest of stations per se on the East Coast. They could work at an opening, no problem, but they were definitely not like, standing out in the crowd working this rare stuff all the time. And they're getting on that chat page going, I just worked, like you said, I just worked Japan, and there's no propagation anywhere. Like, there's no sideband or CW propagation. Nobody's hearing beacons, but they're working Japan. I'm like, please. I worked Japan on Summer Solstice Short Path on CW, and I had my cans on, and my ears were bleeding, and my rear end was sore from sitting in the chair for 5 hours straight, waiting, and finally I worked them. So how, and I got on with the old timers, because I did. I mean, I worked hard to get what I had, and they're on there saying, I got Japan. No, you didn't, man. Your computer heard it. That's part of the skill in amateur radio. I mean, that's part of, what you learn in the textbooks is, not only do you have to be like a good key or, have a good hand or have your station parameters perfect. I mean, you have to know timing, you have to know propagation, to get in, and you have to have an efficient, effective station. And there's these guys with a vertical and a wet noodle, and I got Japan. No, man, no, not the same. But, and who cares? You're right. I don't chase paper. I started in the beginning of my amateur radio hobby, but I gave up on that pretty quick. That was a lot of, you'd have to hire a secretary just to do all that properly. But I never turned them in, although I got shoe boxes full of cards from those days. But, when the ARRL checks that stuff, that FTA QSO is the same as my ear bleeding cans optimized $20,000 station, that same contact's the same, and that's not right. That's not fair at all. Absolutely not fair. To the guys that really busted their butts and learned and came up in the ranks like the old timers would have you do, and that's not the same. It is definitely not the same. So there you go. That's my take on it, man. And I made really good friends with I worked a really rare station, Lebanon, on 6 meters, and there was only 2 people in the States that worked them at that time, and I made good friends with him, and I couldn't believe it. I just happened to see his call in the cluster, and I don't know why, man. Wasn't even sure there was even propagation to his area. And I dialed in, and I'm sitting there listening to white noise, and he comes up out of the white noise for I don't know, man, 30 seconds, and we exchanged, and bang, it was over. And I was like, did that just happen? And I emailed him, and he said, yep, that was for real. And I was like, well, great, man, great to meet you. So anyways, they wrote a magazine article about it somewhere, some magazine somewhere, about me working in Lebanon on sideband. Of course, that made the old-timers mad, because those guys, that's something they dreamt about, But anyways, long story short, I ran into him on HF one time, and maybe we just talked for 45 minutes, and I felt like I knew the guy forever, And I emailed him a few times, and he always said if I ever got over there to come, I could stay there. And that's one place I'd love to go is Lebanon. So, but that's just kind of the cool stuff, man. Yeah, it's wham bam 5'9", but we did something that a lot of people couldn't do, and we hit it off pretty good, and we always share that. So, and I know he remembers it. As a matter of fact, I got a video of me talking to him on HF the first time after that QSO, man. It was crazy. Well, that's kind of fun stuff. But yeah, antennas I know I said this before, but antennas are you got to have a tool in the toolbox for everything, If you want to work Japan on 160, man, you better have a full-size vertical with a bunch of good radial system, it's all what you want to do. I can work 160, I got a dipole, and I got a loop. But I'm not going to hear the same things that you're going to hear on a full vertical with ground radial systems and 5/8 inch and 5/8 hardline feeding it, Just not going to hear the same thing. It's all what you want to do. So some people can do the best they can do, and then you don't have to have the best of best, So you've got a dipole or whatever. To throw a low vertical in the toolbox with some ground radials, that has its application, So you're using the dipole for rag, chew, and local talk, and then at night you're waiting there with that vertical, It's cool. I think that's the coolest thing, and I've learned a lot about diversity and height and time and all that stuff, man. It's a crazy hobby, and I still enjoy that stuff. I just pushed away from all that for a while for this whole tube stuff, which really sticking, man. I love it. Like I always tell everybody, it encapsulates 2 of the things I like, radio and antiques. And but someday somebody's going to have to take all this junk. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to get out of here and let you guys get at it. But, Ray, good to hear you, man. I'm glad you're on. And, yeah, that would be cool if it works pretty well on 7580. Yeah. And that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping to double that loop of mine, that 160 loop. I talked to a gentleman on 20 meters with it one time, or not with that, with my Yagi. He was in Texas, and he said, I have a 160 loop. I doubled it and extended it out to 1,100 plus feet. And I said, what? And he was just banging in here. And I was like, are you serious? I didn't know you could do that. He goes, yeah, just double it. And so I've been, ever since that QSO years and years ago, I've been wanted to try to do that just to see. I may not gain a lot, but maybe I'll gain something. Maybe I'll change the direction of the antenna. Who knows? But and that's another whole issue, man. Trying to keep up 1,100 plus feet of wire here in windy southwestern PA. That's going to be a challenge. But on all the other bands, it doesn't have all kind of gain, but it works and it's quiet. I want to just optimize that, and then I'll be done, man, for a while. Unless maybe I get a 15-meter Yagi, which I'm thinking about. Taking down some of the 6-meter stuff and putting up something for 15, something better, and maybe even something else maybe. Stack them. All right, guys, you have at it. The sun's going to be going down here a little bit. Now there's some things outside I want to do before it gets frigid. I think we might even get a frost tonight. It was almost that way this morning. So if that happens, it'll be interesting. And the bucks are actually running around, man. This morning I saw it was 8:30 and I saw a buck in my yard. It was a nice buck. So they're getting like anxious because it's getting colder. It's almost time to go chase the girls. So I might want to look around for that. And I have a pesky coyote here that I'm patterning, and I'm gonna try to schwack him. We've got a lot of those around here. Anyways, guys, have a good night. Maybe I'll get on later, maybe not. I don't know. 7 Tree here from southwestern Pennsylvania. KD2BRM with KD2AFJ. Good to hear you, Ray. KB3RHR signing.
All right, Craig. Whack that smelly dog. Do it. My buddy just sent me a picture before. It's the youth hunt weekend up here in New York, and his 13-year-old son just got a doe. So that was awesome to see the picture. It doesn't even matter. It's not big. It don't matter. He went last year, didn't get anything, and this year he went and they got a doe. So he popped his hunting fruit, so to speak. In case there's ladies listening, I'll keep it clean. But so my buddy's son just got a doe up in the Catskills, which is very cool. You were touching on what I was saying there, Craig, about the digital modes and no propagation and stuff, and even the clusters, which I know that helped you, and it's helped me too. So I don't, I'm going to talk bad about the clusters in a way, even though I've benefited, and obviously you did as well with the station Lebanon. But even that stuff turns me off. 'Cause you got all these guys and girls out there, and they got these apps, and they get the alert. It's like, they're in the middle of watching, like, Days of Our Lives, and it's like, blink, band's open in Europe, let me go downstairs. They run downstairs, they put the thing on, they FT8, they sideband, they CW, they do whatever. And they're like, oh, yeah, I just worked a guy in Yugoslavia. It's like, man, I remember the other day, I say old days. For me, it's 10 years ago, only because I'm licensed 10 years. But for me, that's old days. So anyone don't like what I'm saying, deal with it. But for me, I remember sitting there with the FT101, scrolling the VFO with the little, like, suicide knob on the VFO, going rolling it around and listening to stations and then retuning the plate and the load and the pre-select and hearing that guy in, Lithuania or Russia or European Russia or Eurasia Russia, whatever the hell different Russias there were. And, or the Antarctica station, the Russian station down there, and, on the vertical. And, so, all that, man, I don't know, I'm torn. I love the technology, I think it's great, and I like it when it keeps people into the hobby when things aren't great, but I hate it because I feel like people today, like I said before, they want that instant gratification. Nobody wants to sit on 40 meters anymore like we do, right? I'll have the damn radio on all day long, 7290, just listening, and nobody's posting in a CQ blog or a DX cluster, hey, I'm calling CQ on 7290 and I live in Tewksbury, Massachusetts. I don't even know if that's real, but I'm just making it up. Well, we'll just sit there, man, and we'll just have the fuzz and the buzzing and the electrical noise and the lightning crashes, and then all of a sudden it's like, KB3RHR calling CQ. It's like, oh shit, there's Craig. So I don't know. There's so much going on in the hobby today. I like the advancements, but I like the old schoolness, man. I much rather listen and sit to I got that backwards. I much rather sit and listen to static for hours, and then some AM station comes up out of the noise, and it literally does when you look at the pan adapter. It's like the hand in the cemetery just coming right up, I don't know, it's Halloween, I guess that's appropriate. But anyway, all good stuff. I'm rambling, but Yeah. Well, go do what you got to do, Craig. Hopefully the rut's kicking in, because I got to get my ass bow hunting soon. Yeah, go do what you got to do. Good running into you today. Good running into you yesterday. Good running into you anytime we're on 40 meters. And I'm going to send it over to Ray. So I'll say 73, Craig. Enjoy your afternoon. Maybe catch you later. Maybe catch you tomorrow. Always a pleasure, man. KB3RHR. I'm going to send it up to WD. You know, it would help if I had the book in front of my face. I keep looking to the side. WD2AFJ, Ray. KD2BRM. Up to you, man.
KC2QYM.
I heard someone break in there. I didn't get the whole call. KB2 something.
Kilo Charlie 2, Quebec Yankee Mike.
Did you get that, Ernie?
I did, Ray. It was KC2QYM. You're acknowledged. Stand by, QYM. We'll let AFJ take it, and then we'll send it right up to you there as soon as he's done. So just take a standby. Go ahead, Ray.
Okay, Ernie, very good. Yeah, still some still some sideband trying to encroach there. It's oh well, what are you gonna do? This will be over pretty soon. Maybe after tomorrow, I guess. Anyways, KD2BRM with KB3RHR signing. This is WD2AFJ. First off, I'd like to say 73 to Craig, if he's still listening, Craig, and out there in southwestern Pennsylvania. 160-meter wire, 1,100 feet. Boy, I tell you, it's nice to have that kind of property. Man, I was struggling yesterday just to try and make a loop. You got all that space out there. Wow, you're blessed, man. You're fortunate. That's great. After you get done with that, maybe you might want to think about throwing up a vertical on 160. They do real well, even if it's just a quarter wave, which is no easy task, but still. They do well on 160, and we're getting there. 160 should be popping. Anyway, 7-3, Craig. Nice to hear you again here on 40. You guys are talking about temperatures going down. That's right. It was a little crispier this morning. Two days ago, Ernie, and I went fishing with my son. And there's a reservoir just above us here, about 15 minutes up on the mountain there. They call it Merrill Creek Reservoir. And my son and I, we go, going fishing there. But he called me up. He wanted to go. Boy, we got up in the morning. He wants to, he's like, sunrise. We got to be out there as soon as they open the gates. With on our way up there, man, we had deer jumping out all over the place. And I'm going, it's that time of the year. Bucks are chasing the doe all over the place. And there's a few guys up there that are already hunting. You gotta have special permission to hunt up there, but I guess some people are pretty fortunate.